Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, it is 11:01 on Edmonton Sports Talk, and we are live from the Beaumont Boston Pizza. So if you're in the Beaumont area and want to swing by for lunch, Tommy and I will be here for the oil stream as well. I am here setting up the Lock Shop today with Jake and Pat. Huss is on his way to Costa Rica. I still can't believe I'm saying that. You guys realize what you're doing, releasing Huss on the people of Costa Rica, especially after what happened yesterday? That's unfair to them, boys.
I think partially, like deep down in my brain, I actually sent Huss off to Costa Rica just knowing that this was going to happen, that the Chiefs were going to beat my Bills. And if he's in another country en route to a beautiful destination, we're not going to have to hear from him for too long.
That's true, actually.
Instead, everyone in the airport in Winnipeg and everyone down at Costa Rica getting him his pineapple drinks are going to have to hear about the dynasty and the history that is being made before our eyes.
Now,
and not to mention
for
the
him.
Chiefs,
I'm
the Chiefs derangement syndrome.
Oh,
going
yeah,
on about now.
Pretty much. That's what it is. He'll be, oh, man. You're right. It is kind of nice that he's not here today. Can imagine the victory lap that guy would be taking today. Let's just quickly on the Lock Shop today. I got that EST parlay I sent to the boys. We'll get to that. We'll take a look at the NHL lines. We got TGL Monday night action as well. Tiger versus Roy. So, Patty, I know you'd be pretty fired up for that. But we do have a lot to get to from the National Football League yesterday. If you're watching over our YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, of course, you can text us anytime at 780-218-9999, and I will monitor the inbox as well. Patty, I mean, the floor is yours, man. I do the morning show with a Bills fan as well. And look, I'm very anti-Chiefs, so I was fully invested in the Bills yesterday too. Eric was both, felt ripped off a bit again, but was also very sad. You were talking before we moving on, like you're not even getting like the pity text. Like people are just like, it's too much. Like, let's just let him be right now, right?
That's pretty much exactly what it is. And it boils down to a lot of things. Like there's so many different emotions, like the grieving process. It's the denial. It's anger and sadness and everything goes through. Like last night, I full transparency, did not sleep a lot last night. I sat on my couch for probably a few hours after that, aimlessly scrolling Twitter, finding different Bills live streams of post-game chat, going on WGR 550 in Buffalo, listening to the fans. It's very therapeutic, but it also at the same time doesn't make things better. I mean, you can go different routes. Of course, obviously, when you look at what happened last night with a few calls, and we want to talk about Chiefs derangement syndrome. I mean, on what planet is that catch a catch that they have the review? The ball clearly touches the ground. What everyone's talking about this morning with the first down, like the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we have overweight part-time 50-year-old men using their eyeballs to decide where the ball is being spotted. What are we doing here? How is that okay? And then, of course, if that measurement that we're looking at is too close to call, we then get two sticks with a chain attached to them. That's the best technology. Why don't we have a chip in the football? Oh, wait, we already do. We have a chip in the football. Because you look at all these other analytics and all these findings, how does that go into it? Well, there is a literal chip in the football. Look at tennis. Look at VAR in football. There has to be a better way to figure this out rather than two guys looking, guessing. One gets pushed off the line from a player. It just simply cannot happen. It can't happen. There call after call. The play before that, Dalton Kincaid, which I want to throw in my – he got the first down there too, and there was like – again, I don't want to blame it on the refs. I have a hard time being that guy. I also have a hard time not saying like a lot of those calls helped the outcome of the game. But at the end of the day, you cannot allow the officials for it to be that close to allow those calls to flip the game on its head. The Bills play calling on that last drive, don't love it. James Cook, friend of the program, we all love Jimmy Cook.
We love him.
He was cooking. He was cooking in that second half. They completely got away. Like, you got 3 minutes, 3 timeouts, and a 2-minute warning. Saying you can't run the ball in that situation, you got to throw the ball.
There was no rush there, Patty. You're right. 100%.
No rush. You could hand the ball off to him. He was cooking them up. Even if you want to use them in some screen passes, which were working, get them out in the flat. That was all working. They got away from that. Josh Allen, them trying the tush push multiple times when it clearly was not working. Again, taking the ball out of James Cook's hands. Going for 2 when all you really need to do is, sure, you want to get it to a field goal, but instead, if you just kick the field goal there, you're down 4, then you don't have to go for 2 again. Then you don't force Kansas City to go for 2. It's a tie game. It is a tie football game. And time after again, it doesn't matter what the situation is. The Buffalo Bills cannot make that one extra play. The execution is not there. The coach continues to get outcoached in these big moments time and time again. And I don't know if firing Sean McDermott's the call, because who are you going to go get? Mike McCarthy? Who are you going to bring in? I don't know if there's a guy, but I also don't know if I think we may have hit the peak and the potential of what McDermott can do with this group. Or maybe it's just the fact of the matter is they're going up against a juggernaut, an all-time dynasty, and it doesn't matter who's coaching. It doesn't matter that if it's Josh Allen. It doesn't matter because the Chiefs are just the Chiefs, and they're going to beat everyone in their warpath. I really don't know. There's still so many different emotions and thoughts running through my head, but I don't want to be the Bills fan who's just going to throw this on the refs and say it's not fair and the NFL is rigged. There's a little bit of that element, but the Bills also had a lot of self-inflicting wounds, especially from the coaching staff, where they could have put their team in a better situation. And once again, we're looking at the end of the game, Sean McDermott's defense weren't good enough. The play calling wasn't good enough. And it leads me to believe, can this guy take this team to the promised land?
I think you make a fair point. And Jake, I'll be quiet a second. You can kind of give me your thoughts on this, but I think you make a good point, Patty, on they're the first team in history to win a playoff game in 5 straight years and not make a Super Bowl. Have you got to the peak of what your current coaching staff can get you to? And if it is the case, then that's not good enough. Now, who knows if you'll be able to do it with somebody else, but you haven't been able to do it with this guy 5 years in a row. So that's a really tough spot to be in. I think I would probably lean towards taking a crack at it again with the same group. But then, we can't bitch about it when it's the same result over and over again. You know what I mean? Jake, let's get your
one quick thing, because I know we could spend a full hour on this. It's a part of my. I'll invoice you for my therapy session. By the way, Dusty. Teams, and I'm sure you guys saw this because there were some wild stats flying out last night. Teams with 4+ touchdowns and 0 turnovers are 21-2 in the playoffs since 2020. Those 2 losses are the Bills in the 2024 AFC Championship and the 2021 divisional round, both against the Chiefs. There was all sorts of other stats out there that, the team really, especially the offense, especially Josh Allen. And I know Josh Allen came out pretty helter-skelter. It looked like, vintage early Josh Allen. Not the Josh Allen we saw.
Very worried early, buddy. I was just
real squirrely, but he figured things out. He made the plays when he needed to. And once again, I don't think you could say oh man, Patrick Mahomes completely outclassed Josh Allen in that one. I don't think you can put it on Josh Allen's head. Part of me is I want Josh Allen free. Put him somewhere in the NFC because I love the guy so much. Free him from this. I just for me, it's just you look at it and it's they just create new ways to lose. Part of it is on the Bills, but part of it also is on that even if they get that first down, guys, I still think the Chiefs find a way to win. That's just what they've done. That's what they continue to do. So sure, the review comes back, or even on that catch, it actually goes the Bills' way. deep down inside, I believe that it doesn't matter what happens. The Chiefs will find a way to win, and they were going to win that game no matter what.
All right, Jake, what say you on the Bills yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where you're sitting there and it feels like, at one point the Bills are down 11. I think it was 21-10 at one point. And then momentum started to flip, and you could see, the Bills were starting to move the ball a little bit better. Like Patty said, the run game was going well, but I don't know. It's just it feels like the definition of insanity for all of us. Because I know obviously Patty's a Bills fan, but I think a lot of us are rooting against the Chiefs. And we're sitting there like, this is going to be different this time, guys. It's going to be different this time. And it's coming down, and you're like, okay, the Bills are going to get the stop here late, and they're going to get the ball back. They're going to get a chance to do it. And sure enough, it's just first down, game over. And I'm sitting there on the couch like, how could that be the end? How can this be the end? How can it be the Chiefs again? And I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where, you talk about Sean McDermott and the Bills, and, to back them up, it's like no one's really been able to beat the Chiefs on this run. Like 7 straight AFC championships. You think back to that Burrow team that ended up beating them. They were kind of carried by their defense. And that's the one thing that happened in Buffalo last night. Their defense, just wasn't doing enough, in my opinion, to really help Josh Allen win that game. I know it wasn't, the perfect offense like we've seen in the past from Allen, but he was doing enough. And it feels like when Buffalo really needed stops, they couldn't find a way to get it done. Now, given we had the Xavier Worthy, catch that I agree was definitely hit the ground, and I think definitely could have gone the other way. We had the big run back on special teams that there was 3 block in the backs that weren't called. I just don't know. I just don't know where the line is. Where, like, what are we calling and what aren't we calling? Like, why? I don't know. There's a lot going through my brain right now. That's why I'm a little bit scattered. But it's just
no. And the thing is, like, there's a couple of times where the Chiefs, like, perfectly, and this is kudos to the Chiefs. They perfectly jumped the snap, no offside call, and immediately put pressure on the Bills. Yet earlier in the game, I think it was like late in that first quarter, which again could have turned the game on its head. Just completely, I think it's Ed Oliver jumps the snap perfectly, and they call it an offside. That took away a massive sack, a fumble lost, and it's flipped on its head. Again, it sounds like a lot like a guy that's making up excuses that that the refs were too involved. The Bills also got lucky with some calls as well. I kind of think that it's not just the Chiefs getting the benefit of the doubt. The Chiefs also just don't make the mistakes, and when they're presented with those opportunities, they jump on it and they jump on those mistakes. That's what magnifies it a little more. I do believe that they get more than what the Chief derangement syndrome leads to believe and all that. So I don't know. For me, it's just I just when you look at it, it's time and time again, it's just the Bills haven't been able to find that big play. Like Dalton Kincaid, Josh Allen's under duress. The fact he's able to even get a throw off, and
I didn't think it was
insane.
Close at all. And then we see the replay, and it was right there for his arms. I was like, oh my God, man.
Kincaid's got to catch that ball. Like, he has to catch that ball. I know it's a difficult catch, but you're a first-round draft pick. All we heard during this draft was this guy's got the best hands for a tight end in the draft. He plays more like a wide receiver because how skilled he is. The guy's been a complete non-factor and has been so disappointing. Like, if he catches that ball, they're automatically in field goal territory. Then we're not talking about all the refs. It's just that just goes into being a poorly, and they tie the game, goes in overtime, or if they win, we're just talking about a poorly officiated football game. So again, I do not want to be a complaint about the ref guy, because I still believe that the Bills had opportunities to put it away and not allow those poor calls to go against them. But man, it's scrolling on Twitter does not help, because more and more things you see people, freaking out about the refs. It's absolutely not worth it.
The I saw another show. I can't remember where it was. Somewhere online. It was talking about like what conspiracy theories do you truly believe in, like that are crazy in sports, and it's hard as. And I'm anti-Chiefs. I wanted to see the Bills win that game, so I was a little biased in viewing this, but it's hard not to watch the spot of that football and go like, how do they get these breaks? Like just the way it came down to the guy on the far side of the field that could see the ball had him spotted up here. The guy who couldn't see the ball had him spotted back here, and then they come out, and that's the spot that they go with. They show multiple angles where you know that ball is over the line. The broadcast team is like, yeah, I think it was 3/4 of the way. Like they had the ball, and I don't understand how they can't get that call correct. Like that was the frustrating one to me because the Bills had just come off that drive in which they just drove the field on the ground. I thought they had all the momentum in the second half at that point, and then that call gets made, and Kansas City scores a touchdown 5 plays later, and you're like, oh, here we go. Like this is happening again, and I don't know how. I just think they screwed that play up so bad. I don't know how I can't have a little bit of time for his rig for the Chiefs. As soon as they cut the commercial break, I was like, I know this is going to be Chiefs ball. Like, I just know that's the way it's going to be. So, I don't want to be that guy, but it's moments like that, I'm like, man, nothing ever goes against the Chiefs, I guess is what they might not get every call, but how often do we see things actually go against the Chiefs over the last 3 years? You just don't see it.
Well, and you know what? It might have been because, they were happy with the spot that the ref gave, but what happened to spotting the football and bringing out the sticks? We didn't even get that where it was like, we're going to respot the ball and bring out the sticks and measure. It was like first down Chiefs, like that's it. And I was like, I thought that was a little crazy. So they were happy enough with where that spot came in from, like you said, the second line judge who couldn't even see the ball from behind Josh Allen. And they were good enough with that on video review that they didn't go to it. I don't know. I saw a guy today saying, like, how can tennis have the review they have with how fast those balls are moving and getting it right every single time down the line with eagle eye, but they can't figure it out in the NFL. Like, and I know someone in the chat said something along the lines of like, well, the chip in the ball doesn't tell when someone's down. Like, I don't know. We have a pretty good idea of when someone's stopped forward momentum or when someone's down, I feel like. That's not the issue we're running into. The issue we're running into is we don't know when the ball has crossed the first down line or the goal line for that matter, because sometimes we have that issue as well. And we're ending up in situations like this. This is going to be a conversation for 2 weeks until the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be something that pops up quite a bit. I would agree. We were asked this morning, Pat, on our show, like, if you're running the Bills, what do you do? And if you want to keep the coaching staff in place, and we talked about this a little bit going into are you guys, do you still have me?
You're just frozen, but we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully I reconnect here. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, what I wanted to say is I was talking this morning, like, do you think, let's just say T. Higgins, do you think like an elite receiver like that helps get the Bills over the hump?
I want to say yes, but like, look at Amari Cooper. I mean, he kind of disappeared from this offense, and I don't necessarily know if that was just not a great fit. And I get it.
Amari Cooper a little bit past prime Amari Cooper,
yeah, but like again, like he was a legitimate non-factor throughout pretty much since they got him. Like, sure, he probably helped draw a lot of attention. So yeah, Higgins is definitely an upgrade from there. I think it does. I also think the way that Joe Brady like kind of runs his offense, there really isn't one key guy. I guess yes. I want to say yes, but at the same time, like, part of me also says like you could have Tom Brady in his prime with Randy Moss and Saquon Barkley on the team, and it's the Buffalo Bills, and it doesn't matter. They're not going to win anyways.
Yeah, I guess that might be the case. All right, so Bills. What is going on here? Sorry, boys. My computer's saying it needs to restart. Hopefully not in the next hour and 40 minutes. So I'm sitting here at Boston Pizza Day in Beaumont. When you want to, if you want to join us there, Jake, what would you do with the Bills? What would you? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe it sounds crazy. I wouldn't get too drastic with it. I mean, I feel like
they're not going to.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Like Dusty, at the end of the day, you've been right there. I know it's so frustrating because it's 0-4 against the Chiefs, and like really that's what's held you out of a Super Bowl appearance.
Or 2, yeah.
Yeah, but this is what happened a lot of the times, and I hate going back to this. I know Pat probably hates when I go back to this. This happened a lot of times with the Brady era, where he left a lot of big name guys out of Super Bowls for a long time, and this is what Mahomes has tended to do. Like Burrow got to 1, Lamar's gotten to 0, Josh has gotten to 0, and Mahomes goes to friggin' every single one in the out of the AFC. That's what it feels like. So I don't know. Like I wouldn't make big changes. Maybe. Maybe you're building a team to stop the Kansas City Chiefs, and I know that's what I feel like, Patty, you can probably attest to this. They've tried to do that in the past, and they still haven't been able to. But I don't know. You just have to find a way to make them make a mistake. I feel like that was and there was mistakes made. I don't know. It's so frustrating.
Mahomes fumbled. Mahomes fumbled in this
even
football
when
game.
Mistakes are made, and we talk about the turnovers all playoffs. That's been the difference maker. Even when the Bills got the turnovers, it still ended up the way. I can't even process it in my brain. That's why you can see how jumbled I am. I don't know, Patty.
First off, I see Bronco Nick in the chat with the 4th and 5th talking about Shakir being open, which is true. But again, I'd like to his eyes are. His actually almost his entire body is turned to the right because they thought the pressure was coming from the other side. There's no way he can turn around and see Shakir there. If he turns and gets sacked, we're all talking about why did Josh Allen not get that throw off? I can't believe he took a sack there. So that's not great. And he also mentioned Cook. Cook actually wasn't even on the field, which again goes to show you what they were even thinking. The fact that Cook was not even in the game plan, that they had Ty Johnson on the field instead. I don't know what you do because again, I do truly, part of me believes that you could see a clear correlation each and every time in these big games that McDermott does get out coached. So is it McDermott brings in different coordinators? Does he go out and get a different coordinator? Does he go out and because Andy Reid, we're talking, I know we talked a lot about Patrick Mahomes putting himself into the GOAT conversation. I think if they win a Super Bowl here, we got to start talking about Andy Reid being up there with Belichick as well.
Got to be right up there. Yep.
He has to be up there. But what do good coaches do? They surround themselves with really, really good coordinators. Look what Spags is able to do all game. Look at that last drive. I just for me, it's if you hit the reset button, who knows what happens? Things could get way worse. Things could get significantly worse.
You're right. You're close.
So you're close. So
I
think the odds would tell you that you run it back. And this is to going into what the Leafs and what that group is, what their mindset is look, and they're not even close to how close the Bills are being close. But it's man, if you just, you're close, if you lose to the Panthers who go on to win the cup, if time and time again, but there's also the old adage, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over. Here's what I will say. If they allow McDermott another season next year, and then they don't get over the hump, and then that's not, I think that's it. I think you give them one more chance. I think that, but the thing is, if there was, because I think all the big names that they potentially would want to bring in and take over, if Vrabel was still on the market or some of the other big names that we've been seeing getting hired, maybe you think about it. But really, who else? You getting John Gruden could potentially be a great hire. Having him work with Josh Allen would be awesome. But Gruden also hasn't coached in how many years? I just don't think there's really a realistic option to bring in right now that isn't going to guarantee you at least this success that they've had here. What Sean McDermott, let's talk about who the Buffalo Bills were before Sean McDermott were. They were a laughing stock of the league. They were the doormat of the AFC East, beaten and battered, and the JP Lossmans of the world. They were a horrible football team, and with a matter of a couple of seasons, McDermott changed the entire culture. And the thing, and this just popped in my mind, Brandon Beane has done a really good job late round drafting, turning talent, finding talent. And that's also another really great thing that McDermott's been able to do, and his coach has been really developing talent. But when you look at the last 3 first round picks, I think for the Buffalo Bills, Keon Coleman, and I get it, only one season. Sorry, he was a late second. So
there's still time there. There's still time
there, but Xavier Worthy looked a lot better than Coleman yesterday.
Yeah, true.
Dalton Kincaid, you look at all the other, tight ends over the last 2 years, the Sam Laportas of the world, Brock Bowers, he was in the talks there. That didn't pan out. And then Kyram Elam, who is the corner who had to come into the game yesterday after the big injury in that first, and he was getting absolutely torched. So maybe is it a matter of you go out and get a different GM and see if you can get someone who can work with Sean McDermott? Do you go out and say to Sean, is there another guy? He's probably tied to Brandon Beane though as well, and probably wouldn't want to throw his guy under the bus. So I don't think there's no easy answer here. The easiest answer is run it back and play the odds, and maybe one of these times the big play will happen and you'll get over the hump.
Patty, you said you consumed a lot of post-game stuff last night. What would you say would be the number one thing fans are talking about? Because we know how fans are here. I mean, Chris Knobloch's been great since he came in, but if they were to lose 3 in a row, they'd be like, I don't know about what was the number one thing that you saw last night? What was the common theme? Believe it or not, it actually wasn't the refs. It was a lot of it was just it's sad, but it was like hopelessness. It was like this was the year. We always have been talking about how, we want Josh to be able to end the game and this offense to be able to end the game. And they had the opportunity and they come up short. It was just a lot like, I don't know, even if similar to what I just said, like, McDermott, he's got us this far. Can he take us any far? I don't know. But is there really anyone that can do it? A lot of just hopeless. Normally the Bills whiner line on WGR is a lot of like outlandish, angry, just the craziest takes. Last night, it was a lot of actually level-headedness and just being like, I just don't know if maybe this is the ceiling. Maybe Josh Allen was born in the wrong era. Maybe he should have been born 5 years later, and when Patrick Mahomes is on the tail end of his career, because it's just again and again and again, just you've seen the movie before. I've seen this film before. That's what Taylor Swift would say. Just heartbreaking. It was really, really heartbreaking, man. Fewer Taylor Swift references on this show than the broadcast yesterday. So that's one. That's where we're at right now. All right, 780-218-9999. We're 30 minutes in. We haven't even got to the other game yet. And we talked about the Eagles. And, man, I ended up sticking with my boy Jaden Daniels, but I should have played the gut on the Eagles and their ability to run the ball. I mean, that backfired on me. But, I had not been overly impressed with the Eagles so far in the playoffs. 7 rushing touchdowns, 8 touchdowns in total against the Commanders. I mean, Jaden Daniels, even on his best day as a rookie here, could not keep pace with what they were doing. It was almost, they had that huge drive, the Commanders, and they come away with 3 points. You're like, and then the very first play for the Eagles is just Saquon to the house. I'm like, oh, this is the way this day is going to go. It was an impressive game from the Eagles, and their defense alone makes me wonder if they can get it actually done this time against Kansas City. But Jake, let's start with you. Your thoughts on the Eagles trouncing the Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, the start of that game, you talked about it already, Dusty. They go for it twice on 4th down. Yeah. And then, kind of get into that, 30-yard range and decide not to go for it the third time around. Like, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. I know, taking the points on the road is important, but like we talked about prior, we knew that run defense was suspect for the Commanders, and then we see it in the first play of the game of the offense for the Eagles. Pitch to Barkley, he runs it for 60, touchdown. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't know what, is there a huge difference at that point between 7-3 and 7-0? Guess what? The momentum shifted already at that point. And then, we talked about it all playoffs. The mistakes were really the big deciding factors. I think the Eagles had 4 takeaways, and I think it led to 21 points, I think I saw. So, you know, like that's the big swing in that game where they take away the football and, you know, Hurts, I thought looked way healthier than I expected.
Yeah.
Patty and I were talking before the game, and I'm like, I think they're down. Like, I think they're not giving away a lot on Hurts. Hurts looked just fine. He was able to run the ball, maybe not as effectively as, you know, he's fully capable of doing. He was passing just fine. And then Barkley obviously gashing them up pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little sick of the tush push, but there's no way I'm going to cheer for the Chiefs in another Super Bowl here. So I don't know. I'm going to bet the Chiefs. I'm not going to cheer for them. I hate the Eagles, though. I can't stand either one of these teams. This was the worst scenario matchup that we talked about. I said Chiefs-Eagles is the worst one. It's what no one wants. And sure enough, that's what it ended up being. So here we are.
Yeah. You know what? Like, again, great point, Jake. Like, the only reason, well, not the only reason why, but a main reason why I bet the Commanders is because I thought Jalen Hurts was banged up. And that knee was way worse than it was. He looked fine last night. Like he was able to run the ball. He was throwing the ball well. The one thing that I will say of like looking at the next, you know, the next matchup, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be turning the ball over 3 times. I don't think that.
I doubt that.
I don't think we talked about enough of how not very good the Commanders' defense was as well. I think we kind of were giving them a little bit too much credit. The Eagles' offense absolutely tore them up, and I'm not going to take anything away from them. They had a great game plan. They threw the ball well. Obviously, Saquon's an absolute monster. Ran the ball well. I think it's going to be a little bit of a different story when they go up against that Chiefs defense. I really do. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball nearly as well. Saquon's still gonna break off a few because that's just who Saquon is. He's an absolute beast, but when you look at it, I think the game, what we saw from the Eagles is definitely is definitely impressive, but I just don't know if they're putting up, you know, big numbers against the Chiefs. Like I think it's gonna be a close game. I lean Chiefs. I really do, just because you'd be crazy not to bet on the Chiefs right now. But I mean, man, that Eagles offense looked absolutely dialed.
It did look good. Hurts, I think, very encouraging now, a couple weeks off. I mean, we'll see, and we'll see if the Eagles learned anything from the last time they played the Chiefs. A couple of years ago, I heard the Super Bowl on the Hangout. I don't know if it was from texters or whoever. This Super Bowl being described as boring, and I don't think it'll be a boring Super Bowl. But I hate the Eagles and the Chiefs. I'm still going to cheer for the Eagles because I hate the Chiefs more. But I don't know so much it's going to be a boring game, guys. But as opposed to, we saw it 2 years ago. You know, I what do you think on a scale of 1 to 10? Let me ask you guys this. And it's a Super Bowl, so we love it. And we're going to bet 1 million player props and everything. And we're going to talk about it for 2 weeks. But as a football fan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for another Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl?
I don't know. I'm not really excited at all, to be honest. I think it's going to be a good game. I think like the lead up, I'm going to be miserable, and I'm not going to really. Of course, I'm going to dive into the betting. I'll probably end up at a buddy's house to watch the game. Once kickoff happens, all that, I'll get over it, and it'll be like, okay, let's watch 2 really good football teams go toe to toe. I really do. But in terms of like the build up, I do think that it's going to be a bit tough, even though like. And I saw, I can't remember who it was. I saw it like online. They were saying like, you know, like enjoy what we're seeing, like enjoy the dynasty. Like what we're seeing is amazing. And 100% that's true. But why do we have to enjoy it? Why? No, screw that. Like we're allowed to hate
I did enjoy the Patriots dynasty, and I don't miss it. Like I'm not like, oh, I wish I would have hopped on the bandwagon. Like that's
Jake, you're on the other side, and all a part of your entire identity was they hate us because they ain't us. Like embracing being the bad boys of the NFL, embracing that everyone hated you. Why do can I respect Patrick Mahomes? Can I respect Andy Reid? Absolutely, for sure. But I'm telling you, I'm not enjoying seeing them win their 3rd straight Super Bowl, especially as a Bills fan. To see that, sure, does it give me a little bit of, I guess, a sense of okay, well, you lost to a historically dominant team. Sure, yeah, that might feel a little better, but at the same time, it'll be like, man, if we beat these guys and got that first down, maybe that could have been us. So no, I'm not going to enjoy the greatness that we see. I'm going to hate watch it. I again, it's
I love the
worst
hate
case
watching,
scenario.
like hate watching a Super Bowl. That's what I'm doing too.
Yeah.
It's just be with a bunch of people. Hey.
It's worst case scenario, though. It is absolutely worst case scenario with those two fan bases. I'm sorry, it really is.
I do have a soft spot for Saquon. I'd like to see him win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So
I do.
Kinda one spot
I
I got
do.
going for me. Jake, how do you rank this thing? Like out of 1 out of 10? Like, how excited are you for this?
I'm not excited. Like I'm. It's the last football game of the year. I'm going to watch. Like there's no doubt. It's the Super Bowl. Like it doesn't matter if I'm excited or not. I'm going to be sitting down on my couch with a plate full of junk food watching the Super Bowl. But it'll be a hate watch. Like it'll absolutely be a hate watch. I don't want either one of these teams to win. I'd much rather see the Eagles win than the Chiefs. And Barkley, with this way his story's gone this year and all the videos that have come out. Like Dusty, have you seen those like New York Giants, the GM calls Barkley, those videos? Every time they come up, I watch them because I'm like, this is crazy. If you're a Giants fan, and this is totally separate, you're catching strays right now. If you're a Giants fan, like you have to be livid that this is the scenario you're in right now with Saquon Barkley going to a Super Bowl and you're in like no man's land in terms of a quarterback or where you're the team direction. Yeah, I'm going to be watching the game, but like Patty said, I'm not going to be like excited with the lead up. Like we've seen this matchup before not long ago. Like Super Bowl 57 was this matchup, Chiefs versus Eagles. I get it. People want to say, appreciate the dynasty. We haven't seen a three-peat. Like this is the big storyline. I don't know. People didn't, like Patty said, people didn't like the Patriots while they were doing it, and that's totally fine. Like you don't want to like the Patriots because they're winning a ton. You don't want to like the Chiefs because they're winning a ton. That's what you're allowed to do as a sports fan, especially as a fan of other teams. That he's like, Mahomes is like the harbinger of happiness. He just steals all your happiness as other sports fans, and he's in the Super Bowl every year, it feels like. So here we are once again, Mahomes staring down the barrel of a three-peat, and a pretty good Eagles team standing in their way. I just hope it's a good game. At the end of the day, like I think we can all agree, we don't want to see a blowout like the Eagles game over the Commanders. We don't want to see the refs
win.
really decide the game. Let it come down to the end. Let it come down to a field goal to win a Super Bowl, and I think we'd all be pretty happy with that result.
Zulu over in the nasty chat on YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us. That would be great. Zulu says, if I couldn't gamble on this game, it would be a hard pass. And the good news is we can gamble on this game. And the line has opened Kansas City -1.5 for the Super Bowl. Early thoughts on, we'll have lots of time to break this down, but early thoughts on this, Patty.
Well, again, I said it. I probably will be cheering for the Eagles, but I'm going to put my money on the Chiefs. -123 right now, a cool bet. That's probably one of the better money line options I've seen. And to be quite honest, I don't see it going to a field goal on either side. I think it's going to be anywhere between that 1.5 to 2, maybe 2.5. I don't know if you get a better money line number at -123, to be honest. So I think if you want to bet the Chiefs right now, I'd probably bet them now. You're thinking the Eagles, maybe you wait a little longer, but history tells us that the Chiefs are probably going to win this game. They're probably going to win in a close one. So I think I'm going to probably, use my hard-earned money betting on the Chiefs because there've been too many times where I've bet against this Chiefs team and lost money.
I also am thinking that I'll make a rather large wager on the Chiefs so that if they win, I can at least be like, I made a bunch of money off the Chiefs.
Dusty, I've already done it. I bet the Chiefs last night because I'm like, you know what? I don't need to wait to the Super Bowl to decide who I want to win. I know who I want to win. It's the Eagles. I do not want the Chiefs to win. But guess what? If the Chiefs are going to win, I'm going to make money off of it. So, I didn't do it yesterday's game because I didn't want to put that juju out there on the Bills. Like, I wanted it to be the Bills. This time around, I said ever since that San Fran Super Bowl where the Chiefs were down 10 and Mahomes, really made his name, out there in that, you remember the game I'm talking about? Garoppolo missed that throw over the top to Kittle, and that was the difference maker late in the game or late in the first half. That's when Mahomes made his name. I swore from that day because I was on San Fran. I swore from that day I'm never betting against Mahomes in a Super Bowl again. And here we are again, staring down the barrel of another Mahomes Super Bowl.
I love that you've already done it.
I just did it too.
I'm trying to think how much money I'd be okay losing.
Yeah, that's what you're
Chiefs,
paying.
Like, if the Chiefs do lose, I'd be happy, but how much money will I be? Okay, well, I'm out this much.
Right.
I don't know.
What would you pay?
The bet will be made
to lose the Super Bowl?
That's what I mean.
Like, the Chiefs to lose the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what's the number on how much would I pay for the Chiefs to lose the Super Bowl? I can take joy if they do win it somehow.
What I will say is I think when you look at some of these markets that are already up, and obviously throughout the weeks there's going to be popping up more, but TD scores are already up. Saquon Barkley minus 200 for a touchdown. Hurts minus 120 for a TD. Kelsey at plus 110. He was pretty much a non-factor yesterday. Which was kind of surprising. But the one that jumps out to me, to score 2+ TDs, Saquon Barkley at plus 250. I can see Barkley still scoring 2 touchdowns and the Chiefs still winning that game. So maybe that's a little bit of a hedge of your bet. Barkley plus 250. Maybe you can hit the middle there. But him to score 2 touchdowns, it's crazy that it's that low. But at the same time, look at what he's been doing all playoff long. Like, I don't see a world where he doesn't find the end zone twice.
When he scored that first one in this game, I was like, man, we should have bet for him to score 3 touchdowns. Yeah. And then he did get the third one in the fourth quarter. I was like,
14-1, 14-1 for him. And that might even
be
three
touchdowns. Yeah.
Might be worth just a little sprinkle. It's the Super Bowl. It's all about sprinkling, right? My board ends up looking like, this long getting ready for the Super Bowl. So we'll have to keep our eyes on it all week long, or I guess the next 2 weeks as more and more pop out there. But yeah, those are some of the preliminary ones out right now. 49.5. I'm kind of leaning over with the way that these offenses can kind of throw it around. Although as I did mention, the Eagles are going up against a much better defense than they did against the Commanders.
Yeah. So are the Chiefs too. I mean,
yeah,
Eagles
big time.
defense is legit. So we'll see. Well, we'll get to all of that as we work our way towards this game. But the Super Bowl is set. It is the Chiefs and the Eagles for the second time in 3 years. Some people over on the Nasty Chat asking about the poker tournament. And I know you guys were telling me before, we're working on getting that up. Hopefully by tonight, you'll be able to log on to the poker software at Coolbet and search for Lock Shop, and then you can register for the tournament, which will be going down 8 o'clock Wednesday night. We'll be streaming it right here on Edmonton Sports Talk as well. And when that does go up, boys, just fire me a text, and I'll tweet it out immediately. We can make sure there because we want to get a bunch of people in on Wednesday night. That should be a lot of fun as well. We got TGL action tonight, NHL action. I did send over the EST parlay to you guys, right? I don't see it up just yet, but did I text that to you guys? Or did I just write it down myself?
No, you did. That should be up soon.
Okay. It's McDavid over 1.5 points, a Draisaitl goal, and then the Oilers on the money line tonight. Good news is that it looks like Draisaitl and McDavid are going to be playing together tonight against Seattle, so that should help. That one. I was just looking. Who was it? Somebody. I don't know if that was texted in or if it was over in the chat. It was one or the other. But anyway. Oh, yeah, there it is. It's Matt at the Garrison. It's just tuning in. I see the line really has moved on 97 over 1.5 points. I jumped on it early. We said this morning at 7:25 when we were doing our Cool Bet segment. I called it the lock of the century. Connor McDavid over 1.5 points coming off suspension against Seattle. We got it this morning at plus 108. It is now minus 125. So that's pretty significant movement in one morning there. So hopefully you got on it at plus 108. I still don't hate it at minus 125. Connor McDavid over 1.5 tonight. National Hockey League, there are 5 games tonight. We've got the Kings minus 147 favorites on the road in Detroit. Devils road favorites as well, minus 147 against Philly. Blues and Canucks tonight, the big game for both of those teams. St. Louis minus 135 home favorites. The Oilers almost at minus 300, minus 294 tonight. That in regulation number might be parlayable, but probably not even worth on its own. And then the Penguins minus 164 on the road against San Jose. Getting Malkin is out. Jesse Puljujarvi has been called up for that game. So the Penguins get better with Jesse Puljujarvi being called up there. So I don't know, boys. Is there anything you like tonight for a little parlay with 5 games on the sked?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tight board out there. I mean, don't mind the Kings, although, that travel scares me a little bit. Where have they been? Sorry, I just got to go see.
I'm looking this up as well to see where they've been. They were in Columbus and lost. They've lost 3 of 4.
Okay. So
but they were in Columbus 2 days ago. So, I mean, not too bad from that perspective.
Okay, so they've probably been in Detroit for at least a day now.
At least a day there. Detroit's won 2 in a row after dropping 4 or 5 after that 7-game heater that kind of got them back in it. I'll bring up some starting goalies.
In terms of a parlay, Oilers in reg, that minus 167 number. I actually wouldn't even mind betting them on the puck line at minus 109. But if it's going to be in a parlay, I'd probably prefer to go in reg there. Mm-hmm. I like that one. The other one I'm looking at, and I wish it was 6, not the 6.5, but still I probably would want to take it. Penguins, Sharks over 6.5. Those two teams can't defend, to save their lives. The Sharks, I think, are like bottom 5 in most shots against, and Penguins are 25th and 28th. I think I saw in shots against and high danger chances. Say what you will about the Sharks, they do have a lot of young firepower up front. So I like, it's a lot of goals. 7 is a lot of goals in a hockey game. But both these teams are criminally bad when it comes to keeping the puck out of their net. So I kind of like over 6.5 for Penguin Sharks. If we wanted to, since it is a parlay, we can tease it down to 5.5 at minus 169, and a parlay is not terrible.
Yeah, I just did. It's funny you brought that up because I'd already done it. So I've got it sitting here.
Beautiful.
Pittsburgh and San Jose over 5.5. Oilers in regulation. Pickard is going to start in this game for the Oilers tonight. We'll get into that on the oil stream here. Plus 154 so far with those two. Jake, what else do we toss in here? I mean, we can move some lines around if we want. We can go in regulation to get a little bit of value. Bennington's going to
a player prop that we like? Maybe even to throw in there. Oh.
Yeah, there could be something there. Let's see. Let me go to this.
I was just looking at the Devils here. I got like Frank the Tank deranged syndrome with the Devils because they're still sitting in the 3rd spot in the Metro. They've won 2 in a row now. They're on the road to a divisional rival in the Flyers, who have dropped a couple. Kind of falling out of this race a little bit here.
Philly beat New Jersey last week 3-1, so there could be a bounce back spot here for the Devils against Philly. That game was actually in New Jersey as well, if you believe in going back and getting the 2 points back from
that was part of their 4-game skid.
Yeah.
I don't mind New Jersey.
Were you leaning Kings beforehand there, Jake?
Yeah, leaning Kings. I don't like they've dropped 3 of their last 4, like Dusty said. Who do we have starting goalies there yet, Dusty?
I got them right here. They're listed as likely right now. It's Talbot and Kemper.
Kemper, yeah, I do like.
Kemper. I mean,
I definitely like Kemper.
I don't mind that. Yeah, I mean,
Kemper's
I could
been their guy.
If we get on the Kings here at minus 147, that's plus 328. I mean, that's fine.
I did look at the Pens and Sharks too. They are, in terms of goals against, the highest goals against 1 and 2 this season in the NHL. So let's hope that trend continues tonight with that over. I like that.
Let's see. You want to do the Kings, Patty? Are you opposed to the Kings here?
No, never opposed to the Kings. I think it's a good get right spot in Detroit.
Yeah,
all right. So we'll go Kings, Oilers in regulation. Kings money line. And the over 5.5 in the Pittsburgh San Jose game, plus 328 pre-boost. You'll be able to find that on the combo cards over at Coolbet. And then on the left side, when the EST parlay is ready, it will be up in the exclusives page over there as well. Pat, we do have TGL tonight. Rory versus Tiger, I believe, right? Is that what we have tonight?
Yes, it's Rory versus Tiger. I think
this is the first we've seen of Rory, right?
Yes.
Boston hasn't played yet. Yeah, Boston hasn't played yet. So.
Yeah, so first time we've seen it. I think it's Rory, Keegan Bradley, and Adam Scott. So a pretty veteran group going up against Tiger. Kevin Kisner's getting the nod even after his horrible performance in his debut. And then Tom Kim is stepping in for Juniper Links. Right now, unfortunately, at Coolbet, we will be getting more odds up. Boston Commons minus 233. After seeing what Kiz was doing all over the
I can't back Jupiter Lynx here tonight.
I can't. I cannot do it. So until we get some other odds up, maybe I'll throw out a pick or two on Twitter. I can't do it. I can't. I cannot do it. If Kiz was out and they went with Homa and Kim with Tiger, I think we'd be talking about a different situation here.
And you know what? Last week, I thought I had like a read on something. I didn't talk about this on the show, but I thought like a team that had experience, with the technology and stuff would have the upper hand. But I think that didn't play into what I thought last week. Justin Thomas's team was pretty good. They took care of business, shutting out. I forget who it was. I don't know if you remember, Patty, but a team that had a bit of experience on the simulator.
It was
already.
It was New York Golf Course.
Right. Yeah. So I don't necessarily think because Tiger and Kiz have been on the sim that they're getting much of an advantage. And like Patty said, the way we saw Kiz play a couple weeks ago, not really jumping to get behind them just yet. But yeah, I guess you know what it is. I think all these matchups are based around their schedules. Like Rory's back for Pebble Beach this week, so that's probably the reason why he's getting his game in on Monday. And
you kind of have to, right? It'd be impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So we get our first glimpse of Boston Common with Rory in the house as a heavy favorite. But, I just can't back Tiger and Kiz after what we saw last week. So
not great.
Minus 233 there for Boston Common. What else? Do we have anything else? We have anything else going on here, boys? Any other? I guess no other combo cards just yet, eh?
Yeah, no, not yet. Those will be up in a little bit here. We do have early preliminary odds for the Pebble Beach. Dusty, maybe I'll be back on Wednesday.
Yeah,
they're already up. You talk about Rory, he's 11-1. Scotty Scheffler, we're getting the first look of him after he cut his hand doing some Christmas cooking. So he's back. This is insane. Plus 500 is
crazy.
That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Especially
off a hand injury?
Off a hand injury on a golf course. That's all about, short game, which obviously he is great and ball striking, but it could turn into a putting contest. And the fact that we haven't seen him yet is really, really scary. Colin Morikawa, 14-1. Justin Thomas, 14-1. Ludwig Aberg, 16-1. He's on my suspended list because he was leading pretty much the entire way and then exploded. Cantlay, 18-1. Hideki, 25-1. Sungjae, 28-1. And then Sam Burns at 33-1. We see Tommy Fleetwood for the first time out as well. So a lot of big names in this. This is the first elevated event that we have. So Dusty, I'll be happy to come back on Wednesday.
Yes,
put together a little parlay because this is, I guess, kind of, you can call it the unofficial start to the PGA season with the Pebble Beach happening here. And then of course, next week after that, I believe we get the Waste Management Open as well. So golf is 100% back.
Cranking up a notch here now. I was just looking at the NBA tonight. I would give another little combo card you guys can throw up here.
Okay.
I've wanted to find a way to get a piece of this TGL. So here's what I want. I want to go Boston Common minus 233, and then the Lakers minus 222 tonight against the Hornets, who only have 12 wins on the season. Right now, if I punch it in, it's plus 107. So, plus number. We can hop on.
A little Dusty Super Boost, Jake?
Yeah, whatever.
We do a Dusty Super Boost?
If you like the Super Boost for me, that would be great. Yeah, Boston Common, and then the Lakers tonight. And whoa, whose dog was that?
That's my dog.
Parlay is up as well. McDavid 2+ points, Draisaitl goal, Edmonton win, plus 260. But they're facing a pretty inferior opponent tonight, so.
It's a good number. I didn't think it would be
still a real solid number. I think I'm going to ride with you, McDavid 2+ tonight. I think he comes back.
It's the lock of the century.
And
yeah,
you said it on the show. I was listening when you said it.
Yeah.
I was like, please just preface gaming, stay cool, bet responsibly. You did say it, but also the lock of the century.
Anytime I do a lock of the week on Edmonton Sports Talk, which is a company that I own, I'm like, man, I don't need this blowback. Like if it was like on the old radio station, I'd be like, it's a lock of the week. You want to bet him? I'm like, no, be careful. Sometimes it doesn't.
We
yeah,
appreciate
that'd be
that.
good.
It's boys, it's we're getting down to football almost being over when we're creating combo cards that include a Monday night basketball game and a golf simulator match.
Hey, that's why the lock shop goes year round right there.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks to both of you guys stepping in. Patty, I know you're going to be back in the next couple of days. Jake, you're going to swing back around a little bit later in the week as Huss goes down and takes his poker talents to Costa Rica. And let me know when the poker tournament here with us is up and available to register, and I'll hammer that out later on tonight. All right. I like Rod Z says the dogs are barking. Maybe we have to take some underdogs tonight, I guess, too. All right. We got Oil Stream coming up here from Boston Pizza in Beaumont. We got a little section here where you can come and sit down and check things out. And Tommy will be joining me, and we will set you up with the Oilers and the Kraken tonight. Connor McDavid returns, and there's 2 points coming. Lock it up. It should be good. Thank you very much for joining us on the Lock Shop today. For Patty and Jake, I am Dustin Nielson. Go Eagles, I guess. Ugh, gross. Oil Stream coming up in less than 5 minutes.